was a village farmer who stopped at a restaurant in the nearby town. And he sat near a group of young fellows who were acting up, shouting at the cook and heckling the waitress, that kind of stuff. And when his meal was set before him, the old farmer bowed his head, made the sign of the cross, and began to say grace. One of the smart Alecs thought he had some fun with the old farmer, so he shouted in a loud voice that could be heard by everyone there, "Hey, old man, does everyone do this where you come from?" Calmly, the old man turned towards the lad with an innocent smile and replied with an equally loud voice, "No, son, our pigs don't." Today's gospel tells us that before feeding the 5,000, Jesus took the loaves of bread, gave thanks to God his Father, and then just distributed them. So Jesus was drawing large crowds to hear him speak. So what was it that drew them to Jesus? Faith? Curiosity? And it seems that the people didn't sit at Jesus' feet anxious to listen to him. Rather, it was because they saw the signs that he was performing on the sick. So the physical hunger is not mentioned, but still Jesus fed them. And the disciples didn't get it at that stage. They think that they will need money and enough food to feed the people. But Jesus doesn't want to just satisfy the people's physical hungers. He has much more to offer them. And this miracle of the feeding of the 5,000 is another sign of God reaching out through Jesus to feed our deepest longings and hungers. The last 2 weeks have been a traumatic time for South Africa. The politically motivated violence, the organized looting has caused immense damage. And in this stressful and frightening time, I just want the reading from Paul's letter to the Ephesians to bring us home a little while. So let us stay with these words. I beg you to walk in a manner worthy of the calling to which you have been called, with all lowliness and meekness, with patience, forbearing one another in love, eager to maintain the unity of the Spirit in the bond of peace. Beautiful words. So we are called to live with lowliness or humility. We are to allow the gift of real life in all its forms be with us and not push it away simply because there's just so much else to do. Humility calls us to accept all that we are and all that we are not. We do not have to be perfect in order to be beloved. Lives that have to be huge and greatly respected with lots of status and power and listened to and in control, that's based on fear, not humility. Gradually, we could try to accept the love God has for us, the love that makes us safe. We are called to live with meekness. Meekness is all about gentleness. Gentleness is difficult to live. Adverts in the media often say that women have to be beautiful at all times or be rejected. They must take care of others, be happy with this particular product and be as strong as men and keep up a social calendar, have a full-time job as well. And those are just some of the pressures that advertising in our modern world puts on women. But relax. God is the gentlest receiver of all, milder than any product, milder than the air we breathe. So we are called to relax. We are enough. We are loved by God, who is infinitely gentle. Our culture tells us that males need to be tough, that gentleness is just for women and children, and men have to be all tough and only tough. And this is false. Both men and women's bodies and minds have the capacity to be strong. But peace comes from balancing toughness with tenderness towards our mates, our families, our religious brothers and sisters, our friends. We are called to live with patience. Now, patience is often defined as bearing pains or trials calmly or without complaint. Now, it's a good enough definition, but it's more interesting to note that the Latin origin of the word the Latin origin of the word patience, or patio, means to allow. So we are to allow the gift of real life in all its forms and not push it away simply because there's so much else to do. God gives us ourselves 1 minute at a time, 1 hour at a time, not sooner. And if we want to have it all and have it now, we are going against our nature. Every moment, every flower, every step is precious if we let it be. We are to accept the gifts of the compassionate giver and let be. Ephesians says we are called to forbearing one another in love. Think how wonderful it would be if someone were to bear with you even when you mess up, and you would not have to be anything but your own adequate self, loved by God, able to bear up under the surprisingly light burden of loving others. Finally, we are called to be eager to maintain the unity of the Spirit in the bond of peace. That's one Lord, one faith, one baptism, one God and Father of us all, who is above all and through all and in all. And we are to keep this peace with us. We are to keep this Lord before our eyes, this God who gives us this lasting peace. So it is our hope and our call. It's the barley loaf. Think of the one bread that we will virtually receive today. One bread, one body, one Lord of all. And we want to be nourished by the one bread. So we can ask ourselves, do we have hungers that we are not aware of that Jesus sees and wants to feed? As we think about today's gospel with this abundance that Jesus provided, can we name our hungers and have faith that we will be fed? Jesus has noticed the hungers of our world. We see South Africa's needs right now and our own inadequacies as well. And we shrug our shoulders and we just say, we just don't have enough to feed them. But Jesus wants to address all of our hungers. Just think of the little boy in the gospel story today. He contributed all he had, the loaves, the fishes, for the hungry crowd. His presence and what he did poses a question to us. What do I have in materials and talents and conviction of faith, as little as they might seem, to share with others?